which gets us to the budget. 290817, which is a request for consideration of the Finance Committee's recommendations of the 2017-2018 budgets and adoption of resolutions appropriating sums and amounts for the following funds. I'm going to take these up one at a time, but we have the general fund, the grants fund, the 7-cent gas tax fund, the 4-cent and 5-cent gas tax fund, the Board of Education Trust Fund, the debt service fund, the capital projects fund, environmental escrow fund, our insurance fund, E911 fund, corrections and jail budget fund, the corrections and court fund, our court special fund, our IT fund, and our GOW 16 construction fund, and finally our judicial administrative fund. And I'll start with reports from finance. Mr. Jones, looks like we're going to have several from you, beginning first with our general fund, which includes cost of living allowance for COLA.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. As I've always known to do, I want to make some opening comments before we start the motions. But I do want to thank you, Mr. Wright, for attending the meetings. Mr. Thames, Mr. Higginbotham, Mrs. Smith for attending, and all the other council members for being there. It means a lot when we really had everyone on the council in attendance for most of our meetings. We met on the 7th of September, and then we met on the 12th, we met on the 13th, we met on the 18th, we met on the 19th, and really we moved along so well that we were able to cancel our meeting on the 20th. So I was happy about that. We learned a lot about the city. We thank the mayor. We thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting together a really good budget. And from the presentation you made, very few changes that were made. There were a few things that we picked up. I'll point out a couple of things. But very good budget, and I appreciate all the time that you spent with department heads to work through all of the items with that. And thank you to Ms. Salter and Robert. Thank you for all the time that you spent working through the different items and being patient with us. We had lots of questions, and Robert was our official note taker, and so you had to make sure that we handled everything that came up as a question. So there were just a few things that came up and we answered. We basically for I guess the main thing that we're doing is we're supporting the COLA as presented. So we'll be recommending the COLA for the 2%. We're also merits. All merits will also be recommended. So all of those have an amount, and we're in full support of all of that. One thing that did happen once we got the budget, we tried to find out if the health insurance was increasing, and we didn't think it was increasing, but then we found out that it was increasing by 1.5%. So we did have to make that motion, and what was I don't know, with a large budget like this, Ms. Salter was not real happy about that, and she called it, it's the elephant in the room, and it ended up being a $34,000 expenditure.
Yeah,
to the
but it
city.
caused us to have to amend a bunch of line items, and then you compared it to budgets in the past, and it just totally disheartened me.
That's right.
Budgets before we got here.
That sums it up right there, that these things matter and pennies matter to Ms. Salter, and we appreciate that.
Amen.
So again, we're recommending the 2% COLA. The cost for that is $363,000. The merit increases, we're recommending those at $250,000. The RSA pension percentage, we increased that up to 13.9%, and so that was approximate cost to the city of $43,000. So altogether, all of that, we're the total cost for the merits, the COLA, the pension, all of the insurance costs were a little under $700,000, so $690,000. We did increase contractual services up to $90,000. That, as the chamber had made mention earlier, the contract, we're looking at Daniels, and then we're also looking at more social media presence, and we want to invest in that. We also added, we've continued to get feedback from residents in terms of wanting to have more mature trees within the city, so we've put in $20,000 as a new line item for mature tree planting. And then $5,000 for the Kiwanis Centennial Project. So those were the main highlights. In addition, what you'll also see with all of the the merit increases, the cost of living increases, we're also going to recommend, and it's a little bit further down on the budget, but or on the agenda, but we are recommending a one-time bonus. Pending a surplus, and really what that means is if you have between 1 and 3 years of tenure within the city, it's a one-time $350, and that's a gross. I mean, that's a net amount. So we're paying for the taxes. So they're going to get $350. We're paying for all the taxes, the FICA. If you have between 4 and 6 years of experience, $500. 7 to 9 years tenure, $750. 10 to 15 years, $1,000. 16 to 19 years, a one-time $1,500. And then 20 plus years, a $2,000 bonus. Now, we've done this for the last 4 years, and the employees really appreciate it. And I think back to Christmas vacation, when Chevy Chase got the Jelly Club of the Month Club or whatever it was. So this is money that they will be getting in November pending that. So we don't want to do the Jelly of the Month Club here. We want to give a bonus, right? Right. Okay. Right, Mr. P. Okay. So perfect. So anyway, that's in it. That's not part of this motion here to approve all of these funds. Hunter, I'm sorry this is kind of boring, but I mean, we're going to work through it. But, so this is all in addition.
You got to suffer for that merit badge, okay?
Yeah. So my son Hill thinks it's boring also. So anyway, with that, we were unanimous with everything. We had a few spirited conversations there towards the end. I expected that. That was a lot of fun. But we voted 5-0 for every one of these funds. So that will be my report from finance for these 16 various funds, 5-0 coming out of finance.
All right, very well. Well, we will have to take each of them up one at a time. I do have one question for you, Walter, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious in regard to, not the subject of this motion, but the bonuses for November. What was the sort of the sum total of that?
Not to exceed 350.
Not to exceed 350.
Yeah.
In regard to these bonuses. So
yeah, that's
and I know, but when you add it to the budget, you're talking about $1 million. That's $1 million of pluses, going out to our employees. So that's certainly something worth noting, and I know we're just thrilled to death to be able to do that. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Jones. All right, so we will begin with the general fund budget, which, as Mr. Jones outlined, does include a cost of living allowance of 2%. It's coming out of finance with a 5-0 unanimous vote for approval. So with that, I will go and ask all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed with regard to general? And so that stands as approved. That would be, see, Mike, I lost count.
143.
Resolution 143. I'll keep up.
17143.
17143, so I'll keep up here. Now with regard to our grants budget, also coming out of finance, a 5-0 vote. This would be Resolution 17-144. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That stands approved. 7-cent gas tax coming out of finance with unanimous approval. Resolution 17-145. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That stands approved. The 4-cent and 5-cent gas tax fund coming out of finance with approval. This will be Resolution 17-146. 17146. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So 17146 is approved. Next budget will be the Board of Education Trust Fund, which came out of Finance with a favorable vote. This will be Resolution 17147. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That fund is approved. Next will be the Debt Service Fund, which came out of Finance with approval. Resolution 17-148. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That stands approved. Capital Projects Fund, coming out of Finance with approval as well. Resolution 17-149. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So 17-149 is approved. Next would be the Environmental Escrow Fund, which also came out of Finance with an unanimous vote. Resolution 17-150. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So 17-150 is approved as well. Next will be the Insurance Fund, coming out of Finance with approval. Resolution 17-151. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So 151 is approved. 17-151 is approved as well. Next will be the E911 Fund, which received a favorable vote out of Finance. This will be Resolution 17-152. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 17-152 is approved as well. Next will be the Corrections Jail Fund, coming out of Finance with unanimous approval. Resolution 17-153. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So 17-153 is approved as well. Next will be the Corrections Court Fund, coming out of Finance with favorable vote. This will be Resolution 17-154. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So 17-154 stands approved as well. A few more here. Next will be the Court Special Fund, coming out of Finance with a unanimous 5-0 vote. This will be Resolution 17-155. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That fund stands approved as well. Next will be the Technology Fund, coming out of Finance with a favorable vote. Resolution 17-156. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So 17-156 is approved as well. Then we have the, and I'm going to pause here just a second so I can learn something, GOW 16 Construction Fund.
That's the government warrant.
Thank you. It didn't hit me when I was reading through them. This general obligation warrants 16 Construction Fund was approved in Finance with a 5-0 vote. This will be Resolution 17-157. Without any further questions about it, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So 17-157 is approved. And I believe our last one is the Judicial Administrative Fund, coming out of Finance with a unanimous 5-0 vote. This will be Resolution 17-158. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So Melody, I believe that covers all of the budget items, if I'm not
Yes, sir,
mistaken.
and thank you so much from the finance director here for approving the budget. Whew.